tonight to talk about Tashas Cauldron of Everything.
Yeah.
Thanks, you doing? Just hanging out.
Now that it's been out for a few weeks, but basically full of new player options, stuff that lets you customize your character, especially from early on in the game, and lots of options for DMs as well. Hello everyone in the chat. I am DM Pesh, if it's your first time here. We usually play D&D on this channel, and for once I thought I'd try and make some new content for my YouTube channel that isn't 4 or 5 hours long, so maybe something easier for people to digest.
My favorite thing off the bat, Josh, about this book, if I have one favorite thing, is that they created a whole class just for Rook called the Artificer.
They have finally, Wizards have unleashed the horror of the artillerist on every other setting besides Eberron officially. So, but yeah, whether you're in the chat or watching on YouTube, if you have any questions, if you have any grievances you'd like to take out with me, just comment it below, put it in the chat, let me know. How you doing, that mage? Good to see you here. Let's just dive straight in. Oh, and also joining me is the beloved Adam and Kyle, fellow GMs and players from both my Strange Aeons and Eberron campaigns that we play here on the channel. So let's dive in. First section, customizing your origin. I already like it. The ability to tailor your character's starting racial features. My first thought on it, something I really like about it, is very good for the Eberron setting, because race isn't really a sort of, well, it is, but a lot of the time race isn't like a factor of what makes a character who they are. You can be a dwarf that grew up in a cosmopolitan place like Shan, in which case, what use do you have for stone cunning or and
I feel like most people have like a token aspect about each of these races. Like the dwarves have to be, holding grudges. They have to be, sturdy and all about, and all hating anything that's not theirs. And then the elves are always feeling like they're better than everyone else. So it's nice that they can change. Like, you can always play D&D in any way you want. You can play an elf who's obsessed with building like stone structures. That's the great thing about it. It's all about you. But it's nice that they've actually put it down in words and part of the universe, because I feel more people will be accepting to experiment with the origin of their characters, which is fantastic.
100%, yeah. And a lot more character options at the start of the game. So, like similar to obviously Pathfinder first edition, just way more options at character creation, which is cool.
Because that's what I feel D&D needs. D&D needs options. Just be able to go, oh, that little thing there, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll have a look at that.
Yeah, the little things that make it your character, rather than having something ham-fisted on you, like this race gives you proficiency with brewer's supplies, and it's like, well, I don't want or need that. And so I like that. I am very happy with the customizing your origin features. Very cool.
I think what Adam said is good, where it's just putting it into like on the actual page so that people can be like, okay, look, it's part of the rules, so I can just customize my character however I want. You don't have to go to your DM and say, hey, look, maybe
can I please do this? Customize this? Yeah.
Yep. And as far as I haven't had too deep a look at it yet, but as far as I know, most of these new features are implemented on D&D Beyond as well, so you can easily do these skill swaps at character creation, which is really awesome. I'm gonna do a character build after we're finished talking about everything. So changing a skill along the same lines as customizing your origin. Now we're getting in, next section is each of the classes and their archetypes. We won't go through all of them because we'll be here all night if we go for every single one, but I've cherry picked some more, but one we're going to go deep in. The very first one, the Artificer.
Artificer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, officially out of the Eberron setting and dive bombing into Faerun, and hopefully one day, there'll be some sort of Dark Sun variant of it if they ever do another Dark Sun book. Please do another Dark Sun book. But so Rook, as an experienced artificer and of the artillerist anyway, and Adam, you've been playing Alchemist now for a few months. Thoughts?
Love it.
I'm in the middle.
No, I love it. Why are you in the middle? Hit me.
I'm in the middle. So obviously, I'm happy it's there. Like, I'm a big fan of the idea of the alchemy part of it. Like, that's my thing. Creating chemicals that make bombs that you throw. That's awesome. It's fantastic. It's why I was really happy personally when Pathfinder 2e made it a core class, because it was like, this is just an amazing idea. In this, I am a fan of the Artificer, but as soon as you mentioned Faerun, that was when I was like, okay, this might be just me. In my imagination, I've always seen Faerun as high fantasy, like very, very high fantasy, whereas Eberron, I feel like it's fit perfectly because it's got that kind of steampunky feel, which is how I see Artificers. I see Artificers as steampunk. I don't mind that it's like now anyone can be it. You can choose whatever you want. I think it's a great class. It's a fantastic class. But the only real issue I have is it's going to be very hard for people to put it into, for instance, a Swords Coast campaign. Personally, I think it's there. You can do it, I'm sure, but it's the whole idea that for so long D&D is kind of kept. For instance, the idea of gunpowder at arm's length, because it's like technology, it's like explosions and stuff like that. Like they've relied on magic for so long, and now they've allowed technology to come in. It's going to be very interesting. And it's always that thing of, as soon as like an artificer walks into town with a robotic arm that works in a certain way, every villager is going to go, oh, what's that? And it's like, I like it. I love the class. It's fantastic. But it's going to be very interesting to see how people put it into campaigns. And that's what I'm interested in. That's why I'm on the fence.
I mean, it's up to DM and player agency to work it in. And there there already were avenues for the artificer since like 3rd and 4th edition. Like even Faerun is connected to that floating cylinder city where artificers travel through. I've forgotten what it's called. Like something to do with a key or something like that. I can't remember.
Ooh,
but it's like an interdimensional like hub that connects to all these other, like pretty much all of the other planes, including the settings as well. I forgot. I cannot remember what the city is called. Yeah. Anyway,
it doesn't matter. Yeah,
it is there. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah,
so long as there's a route in and people can be creative with it. You know what I mean?
Just the fact that it's there, because I feel like if you've got a decent DM and you're not a total dick about it as a player,
yeah, 100%.
you can just pretty much try and ham-fist it into any setting, and if the DM says, look, it's not going to work, obviously it's not going to work. But just the fact that it's there as official rules now, I really love, because and
I'm very glad about that.
Well. Yeah,
I'm glad it's in a hard book. Like an advanced guide, player's guide, pretty much.
Yeah,
because it's a hard book that tells you could be this.
Yeah, one of the things that, because the Artificer, obviously it only started in Eberron, so if you wanted to put it into a different game, even if that game setting was kind of the same as the Eberron setting, you'd have to go out of your way to find it, like in the Unearthed Arcana or the Eberron book.
Yeah,
and I feel like the more stuff that they put in official books like this, and the easier it is for people to find, just the better, honestly.
Yeah. 100%.
The one thing I noticed by accident, I'm not sure if this is all the way around D&D Beyond, but D&D Beyond now allows you to buy that class individually, just that class.
It's always been it's been that way.
Has it always been like that?
For a long time.
Fantastic, because I was worried that you had to buy Eberron, the whole book, to be able to do it.
It's always been, I think, like $2.50 to just unlock a class in the book. Yeah, which has been good.
That I love. That I love.
For players, that's great. Like if the DM doesn't have something, it's $2.50 to add it themselves. So yeah,
it's fantastic, and I really like that.
So, speaking of like all things like making them fit. Don't get me wrong, mechanically I think it's fine, but the Armorer Artificer, I cannot help but picture a Space Marine, and until I see some artwork, it's just such a strange thing. Like I don't know, I'm just imagining this heavily armored player character just rampaging across the battlefield with, you know, giant power fists from Warhammer 40k and just punching creatures. I don't know. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's great. I
guess I kind of agree with that, Josh, because like artillerist and alchemist and even battlesmith to an extent, you can like they can work in kind of any setting that has basic gunpowder.
Yeah.
But then armor, it's like you kind of need a bit of extra tech for it to work.
Yeah, it's very exotic. Yeah.
The art does look very Iron Man-ish as well.
Yeah, like the one piece of art for the armor is like those two drow, like basically one of them's a drow, basically is Iron Man. Like I was like, oh man, at least make it a little bit more fantasy or steampunk, please. Yeah, you're not helping.
But I like it. I like it. Like I'll have to look into it more, but
great idea. Like yeah, I like it too.
I mean, I'm looking at Thunder Gauntlets and I'm like, yeah, I want a pair of Thunder Gauntlets. This looks really cool.
Alright, so moving on. So the rest of the classes now also come with optional class features for all of them. Something else selectable at character creation, allowing you to replace the basic features of the class, not the archetype ones, with other basic features. Awesome. We'll have a quick look at some. I know the Ranger actually got the most. I think they got like a long list of optional class features to replace like favored enemies and things like that. So yeah, they have like Deft Explorer, favored foe, and I had a look at it on D&D Beyond, and yeah, there's just so many more like different choices, which is just cool. More flexibility in class creation and tailoring your character. Like,
yeah.
And I'm glad they did it, because I personally feel like Rangers I've always seen as OP, but they've always needed love. I think Rangers have always needed love. I always felt like you get a Ranger who, like, it's nice to have that option, just to have them as a wandering person rather than just having them as like someone who's after a certain race. Like, they've always seemed kind of like, I want to be able to destroy that thing in particular. I like the idea that they can just be, you know, just traveling.
I think the problem with Rangers is just that they're so useful in an exploration campaign or a survival campaign, but useless otherwise. They just don't fit in with the kind of all the other classes work.
Yeah, I mean, and now hopefully like they have a bit more
flexibility. Now it's been mitigated.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're just there for that. Like, I'm just here for DPS, guys, and launching 3 arrows a turn.
And being really, really good and making Adam jealous of his class decisions in a certain campaign.
But it's only going to get better. All right, let's have a look at some actual class archetypes. If you have any,
can we look at Barbarian?
We can definitely have a look at Barbarian. Especially,
I really want to look at Barbarian Wild Magic.
Yes, especially after you pointed that out to me earlier. That is
so Barbarian Wild Magic, pretty much, from what I've read, pretty much gives your Barbarian kind of a little bit of magic, which is kind of fun.
And a little bit on the random side.
And so it's more like a sorcerer. Yeah, so you have a chart that you roll on because you get a Wild Surge. So it's a D8 chart, and as you go into a rage, this kicks off. So it's like, oh, I can now suddenly teleport 30 feet as a bonus action. As a fucking barbarian, it's like the danger that can cause and the fun and hilarity. I'm sure you could mix that in with like a proper barbarian. You also have other things like
number 4 is great. I love number 4. Your weapon becomes magically a thrown returning force weapon.
Not to mention, I believe. Oh no, it's not that one. One of them, it turns your weapon into a light weapon.
Yeah, that's number 4.
Is that number 4?
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Light
fantastic.
And thrown, so you could be throwing a great
your two-handed axe.
Yeah, you can it does force damage.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then like you get stuff like bolstering magic, which I think it adds a little bit of cleric to the class, because you go up to someone, you can give them a buff, so you've got a bit of clerisy with it. You got a little bit of bardic power with that, which is interesting because you can give yourself for the next 10 minutes a D3, and you roll an extra D3 for any ability checks or attack rolls, and it's fantastic. I like that Barbarian has become less of a frontline dumb guy, and more of a like you do have the ability to be able to like bounce off and like be different rather than just like the guy running in, which is again why I chose to be barbarian and rogue, two classes that traditionally don't really go well together, but I started linking certain ties if I did certain things, and it would be like, oh, that'd be really good fun. And
it reminds me of the Blood Rager hybrid class from first edition Pathfinder, which was their hybrid classes just combined two classes and took bits of each. The Blood Rager was Sorcerer combined with Barbarian. It was really cool. It's like a Raging Barbarian that could cast spells. And then if you took the Steel Blood archetype, he could wear heavy armor too. It was insane. It was awesome. Alright, next one. I
just want to say, sorry, with the Path of the Wild magic, just looking at it, I noticed that the if an effect requires a saving throw, the DC is your 8+ proficiency plus con.
Yep.
I really like that. Because there's a lot of subclasses that make you take like an extra skill or an extra ability that you don't really want to take.
Yeah.
Does it do that with Fighter and Eldritch Fighter?
Yeah, because you need to have in.
Yeah, you need intelligence for that. So
and even stuff with like Monk making you take, because you want I mean the Wisdom gives you unarmored defense as well, but it's just like that's your saving throw as well, so you can only ever choose either Dex or Strength.
Yeah.
And
like I've always wanted to play an Eldritch Knight. I feel like we've bloody awesome. But it meant that I had to sacrifice something beforehand, which would have been something like Con or sacrifice something like Dex, which as a fighter, it's very useful. And you're going to be quite fluffy until that point, you know? And so, I've always,
Alright, I'd like to touch on the Druid archetypes. So Circle of Spores, Stars, and Wildfire
Circle of Spores
have come out of Unearthed Arcana. I've been playing a Circle of Stars Druid on the Unearthed Arcana variant of it for a few months in Scott's campaign, and it's been a lot of fun. And I can see they have made some tweaks to it on the changeover from Unearthed Arcana now. So it's star map feature. During playtesting, you could use it to cast both Guiding Bolt and Augury. So you got a free cast or two of Augury every single day. So, I don't know, maybe there was feedback during playtesting from frustrated DMs having to constantly give clues away to Augury. I don't know. But now it's just Guiding Bolt, and they know the Guidance cantrip as well has been added. There was something else too. I'm fairly sure the Starry Form last feature, you basically wild shift into a constellation, like instead of an animal. And I'm pretty sure during playtesting it was an action. Now it's a bonus action, which is really cool. The Archer Constellation 2 has been... I think it's pretty sure it's been buffed. It's now a bonus. It gives you a ranged attack that you can use each turn. You like fling stars around. And it's a bonus action to do said ranged attack. So really cool. Yeah.
1d8 plus Wisdom. That's pretty good.
Awesome. For 10 minutes too. Like, and it's just single use of Wild Shape. So you get that back on a short rest. So, pretty awesome. Yeah, some buffs there. I like it.
I like Circle of Wildfire.
I have not actually looked at Circle of Wildfire yet.
The way the description is fantastic. Like the druids within the Circle of Wildfire understand that destruction is sometimes the precursor of creation. Just that line sold me on it.
Actually, like I had a glance at the spells list earlier, and I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. That sounds there's a druid.
Burning Hands, Cure Wounds, Flaming Sphere, Scorching Ray. No Fireball, but you know, but like it's interesting, and you get like at second level you get a spirit animal, and I like that idea. Like this is something that's. Because druids I've always seen as like, and I think everyone has that opinion, druids, they're all about the sanctity of nature and all this and all that. Whereas I like this class because for me, this would make me want to play a druid. Being this character who can see that through destruction, life is created. And I love that idea and that mentality. And it's just like, there's so many interesting characters you can create with that.
That's also reflected in the 5th level spells too, instead of Fireball, like Plant Growth and Revivify. As sort of, the regrowth after the fire.
Yeah.
So I like it. Good.
Yeah, actually, now that I look at it, and it's kind of like there's, apart from third level, each one kind of, and third level and fifth level, each one kind of like complements each other. So you've got burning hands, but cure wounds. You've got flaming, you've got aura of life, but you've got fire shield. You know,
flame strike and
mass cure wounds. You know, it's like it reflects off each other.
Yeah. Well, that's that's obviously for when you flame strike your entire party along with the enemies.
Shit, just mass cure wounds. It's like, so I might play a firefighter that is a druid of wildfire. This is I really like that.
Yeah, I really like this subclass. It's good.
Yeah, it's a fantastic subclass.
Have you seen the Psy Warrior, Josh?
Actually, one of the ones I did want to delve into.
I'm interested.
5e hasn't really touched much on psionics yet, and I had looked also in the new spells section of this book. There's a few new. They're not labeled as psionics, but they're clearly psionic spells.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's exciting to have psionics coming back, because that also means there could be a new Dark Sun book coming.
I think the Psy Warrior was changed quite a bit from the Unearthed.
Right.
I can't quite remember exactly the changes, but I remember reading the differences. Like the psionic energy die has changed, I believe. It used to go up and down based on how many times you spend it. Like it would be a D6 and then a D8 if you did well, and a D4 if you did poorly.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But now it's just a specific number of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I love the idea of just telekinesis in general. And psionics.
Yeah.
I think it can lead to interesting campaign settings. Rather than just the classic high fantasy.
Well, yeah, and exactly. Or for example, Dark Sun, because that's Dark Sun's all about the psionics because magic is illegal. So, like,
exactly.
But, very cool.
I feel like 5e hasn't explored it like at all, really.
No, not really. Capacity. I mean, to be honest, this is the first. As far as I know, like I don't know the books like the back of my hand, but this is the first time psionics have had a good whack in 5e. So hopefully we'll see more of it.
Psionic kind of playing around with using mind powers for stuff, I guess is a better term. Like that's one of the main things that drew me to Starfinder. I like that idea that you had these people that could use their brains to make stuff happen. It's like it's really interesting, and what's even more interesting about it, it's a fighter class. Like, finally, like something like, again, going back to that discussion where we're talking about how you had to sacrifice intelligence to do that. This would make me want to do it more because I can now use my brain powers for stuff.
Yeah,
like
actually, that's a good point. Actually, because traditionally, like the martial psionics class is monk. So it's interesting that Psy Warrior is get this first like major psionic class in 5e has gone to fighter. Very, very cool.
Well, which class is more popular, do you think?
Definitely
a fighter or a monk.
I don't know, to be honest.
I would say fighter, based on my own experience.
So allowing this to be there is like getting a bit of intrigue for maybe your dream of a Dark Sun thing, because it's like, this is an option now. Oh, I'm really interested. And if they start seeing, we all know what D&D Beyond is like. It's a massive data pad where they can look at what people are interested in, what characters are getting built, what campaigns people are interested in playing. And that's how they can traditionally, I think since D&D Beyond has come out, they've hit the nail on the head with what people want, because they've used D&D Beyond's database to go, yep, this, and this is what's really good.
Yep.
And I think, and they will see people multi-classing, like with Monk and I guess Monk for kind of the stuff that Monk can do with Fighter, like mixing those two together. This is a cool little thing that they've gone, okay, maybe they're interested in this. And like they've got a cleft of a library that they can go through of previous like
just adopting things from
and
previous
like
editions and
Exactly. And they just like find out what people are most interested in. It's fantastic. I do like it.
So I would like to take a look at the sorcerer archetypes. That's pretty much that I want to look at in depth. Do you guys have anything else you want to look at?
One thing about fighters, what I was talking to you, the Battle Master builds.
Right.
I like that.
Yes.
So the Battle Master builds is basically, here's a guide to create a character that is like such. Here's a thing that create like such. So you've got like the archer, the bodyguard, the brawler, the duelist, the gladiator, the hoplite, lancer, outrider, pugilist,
But yeah,
For shock,
the
pugilist,
pugilist.
Shock trooper, skirmisher, strategist, and I think there's something else. No, that's it. And basically, it is just a guide, very tiny guide, saying, "Hey, you want to play a guy who's up the front punching people? Go pugilist. Hey, these are all the things you should take as a pugilist. Hey, you want to be a guy who's throwing spears and using pole weapons and short swords? Go with the hoplite." Like it's a nice little guide that you can find in the book that you don't have to go online for and have people umming and ahhing which are the best things to take. This is a professional book that tells you if you want to do this is the best route to go. And I think that's great for the min-maxer kind of players. Like, people who like to be like creative will obviously look at it and go, "Oh, I want to go this, and this." But the ones who are just like, "Nah, I want a fucking hard-hitting fighter," which there are. People play D&D because they want to kill the monster. They don't give a shit about the story. They just want to beat the story, beat the storyline. And if you're a fighter like that, it's a perfect guide to make your character as best as you can, because it literally says like skirmisher, fighting style, archery or thrown weapon fighting, maneuvers, take ambush, take bait and switch, take distracting shot, take quick toss, Jesus Christ, feats, and it's telling you take alert, dual wielder, mobile, skulker. Like, it's telling you exactly what feats to take. It doesn't tell you an order. It's just like, these are probably what's best going to make you, this style, which I like. It's like finding a class within your class, but without that whole subclassness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's in the battle master thing.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have that guide.
I like that. I like it. I mean, I'd like to see it for other classes as well. And I'd love to see one for wizard. So it could be like, you want to be a pyromancer, you want to be a cryomancer, you want to be, whatever, any of the elements, and add mancer to the end.
I don't think there's necessarily enough spells in 5e for that to be kind of viable.
I do agree with you.
Doing that as well.
Yeah.
Like when I was playing Kashi, I tried to make him a kind of an Earthmancer. Was that Geomancer? I guess.
Lithomancer.
Sure.
Lithomancer.
And couldn't really get it to work because you saw I was taking lots of water spells at the end there, just because I kind of had to.
There's nothing else to take. Yeah. It's like once you got catapult, earthquake, mold earth.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what's another cool thing about this guide. As a GM, I need someone who's certain.
Yes.
I need someone who's like this. I know they're going to be coming up. Yeah, and you can just go, I need this kind of person for the battlefield. I need this kind of person as a big boss. And you just can build a boss that they have to fight off one of these things. And your work's done for you. Like, you don't have to kind of go, oh, it'd be kind of cool to have that, Like, you can just find monsters to throw as the big bosses, but now it gives you the option to customize it, but customize it easily and simply, which is what we want as GMs. To be able to click a box and go, yeah, I want that kind of bad guy. And you just fill in the blanks. Like, if it's
outside of this book, but one thing I'm really looking forward to is the NPC and monster builder that they're working on for D&D Beyond. I cannot wait for that. It's going to be awesome.
I was just going to point out that in case anyone doesn't know, pugilism a pugilist is someone who's a boxer.
Yeah.
That's what
like it comes from isn't it like the old school like fisty cups?
Yeah,
like
the old.
Yeah, always wanted to play a dwarven fisty-cupper. That's been like my one thing.
Yeah, I just wanted to point.
Yeah. Cool. Let's have a look at Sorcerer. 2 archetypes, which I am very excited about both of these archetypes.
Haven't seen either of these yet.
So, Aberrant Mind. I love my aberrations. I love my tentacles and slimy things from the depths below.
Oh, yeah.
So this one's cool. It comes with the roll table at the start with some good sort of hooks ideas for the character and where they get their powers from. Psionic spell lists, which is pretty cool. Has black tentacles on it, standard. And Summon Aberration, one of the new summoning spells that.
Whoa!
Yeah, there's summoning spells now.
Are we going to look at that?
We'll have a look
now,
at that.
Or are we
we'll have a look at the spell list after the subclasses.
Yep.
But yeah, telepathy, a little bit of psionic and psychic powers, pretty cool. Yeah, just something, obviously as a fan of Aberration. I mean, more I like this because it's ideas for the sort of odd occasion where I actually get to be a player. Is a class I could take. Oh, wait.
Happen.
Clockwork Soul.
Watch your mouth, bro.
You're not allowed to play.
Yeah, Clockwork
saw this.
Clockwork Soul is one I really like because obviously everyone is my favorite setting to run, and Clockwork Soul just fits right in there. Especially with the new Summon Construct spell, which is very cool.
It looks like they're really going for that summoning thing. Like,
they've made using the summoning spells that they've added, like in this book. But yeah, things revolved around constructs and sort of. I love the manifestations table. Just little things, just flavorful things for your character. Like you can make spectral cogwheels hover behind you when you like cast a spell, or your skin can turn to brass, or I don't know, just super flavorful, cool. Especially for Eberron.
And it unlocks that creative side in people, like I do with Professor Gideon. I have the spell which is Acid Splash or acid thingy. I make it part of my character that he spits acid. He is conjuring the spell in his mouth and he's spitting it out because he's just got this. He's got the saliva that's constantly gathering and falling out of this hole in his face. He's found a use to get rid of it. Like that's the whole idea. The idea is because he's got the low charisma. He's got the he's a little bit of a grumpy young man. I just kept finding new ideas for like creating these spells, and because obviously in my eyes, an alchemist, I wanted him to create like potions and ways to do it, kind of thing. Yeah. And so this then allows, which I think there's in a lot of these classes, they have like these, hey, this is some way that you can use your powers do this to you as you use them. Which is really interesting because it adds flavor to the combat. Because rather than just going, I cast Fireball, you go, I put my arms in the air, I conjure up the words of my deity and bring down fire on these creatures, and I rolled a hit. Like that it adds to it. It adds to that mental picture that we all have as we're in combat. Which is fantastic.
An entire section on that at the end of this book.
Awesome.
Incidentally, on adding flavor to spells. I mean that's one of my sort of favorite things is on the sort of description side coming from players is when they describe how they're actually casting their spells. It's so much better. It's so much more immersive and makes it.
Hence why I'm always asking for butter so I can cast grease. It's just because it's just a stick of butter, and I love that. One thing before we jump off these classes, one thing that I accidentally turned to as I was flicking through my pages is one of the new sacred oaths for Paladin, the Oath of Glory, which I love because I've always thought, like I've played through a campaign with a Paladin who's very it's basically Gilderoy Lockhart as a paladin, like very self-absorbed, very much, talking about themselves and how great they are and the many titles they have. And now there's a sacred oath for it, Oath of Glory, with the and I like that because before, paladins in my eyes were always seen as like knights of faith, like our clerics are the monks of faith. And so I always thought of them thinking, I'm doing this for my god. I'm doing this for this. I'm doing this for my god. The reason I am being good is because of my god, and he's my savior and all this stuff. Whereas the glory one, to me, makes it seem like my god is allowing me to do this kind of thing, and to be self-absorbed and be egotistic. And I really like that. After playing with a very egotistical paladin, this is really fun.
Actually, I really like the sarcastic note from Tasha at the start of the Oath of Glory section. It's like, you're it. You're the winner of the Cosmic Fortune Lottery. Oh, and you're going to tell absolutely everyone about it? Just great.
Exactly. So I want to go back and I want to play that campaign and pick up that player and go, hey, this is for you. This oath is for you. Like, it is fantastic. And like looking at the spells as well, they're very selfish. And that plays into the spell choice, because you got like Guiding Bolt, Heroism, like Enhance Ability. It's like you could create Hercules. That's why I look at this and go, I want to make a Hercules build, like the holy kind of warrior. Like it's glorious defense. Jesus Christ, I love it. Living Legend is level 20. I love this. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about that. No, I'm really interested.
I'm trying to think of which like movie character it's reminding me of. Actually, you know who it reminds me? You haven't watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood at all? Like, anime. I've
watched maybe the first episode of
there's
the
like
original series.
one of the alchemists in that. It just makes me think of him. It's like this. His whole alchemy is just like enhancing himself and making. He just fights with his fists. Like rips his shirt off. And he's super big and super ripped, and he's just like glory. And he's super good looking and just charges into battle with his enormous fists. And just definitely the oath of glory.
It's the Johnny Bravo of paladin classes.
Oh yes. Thank you for the follow, Hello Governor. Welcome.
Hello Governor.
We're just about to have a look at some feats.
I love me feats. As a Pathfinder person, I love feats because that is Pathfinder's base. Half the classes is like, oh yeah, you get to choose a feat. Just has to be related to combat in some way. Here, choose.
I particularly actually when I went to the feats section, the first one that caught my eye was like I completely missed Artificer Initiate because my eyes magnetized onto the word chef. That's such a great feat. I love it. I really want to play a character with the chef feat. And then I scrolled down hoping there would be more profession related feats, but there's very few.
I do want to discuss chapter 2 at some point if possible. I just accidentally flicked over to it and it looks really interesting. But let's go.
Which bit was chapter 2? Oh yeah, that's the next one we're going to.
Okay, good. Yeah. Where are the feats in the book? Do you know?
Just before chapter 2. The last section.
Oh, is it?
The last section just before chapter 2. So Artificer Initiate getting added to the other initiate feats that we already had. You choose from the Artificer spell list, which is very cool. Very cool for characters who want to dabble in a little bit of artifice without multi-classing. Awesome. Obviously, I love the chef feat. It's just, it's so good. I think willing to bet that Kyle's character is going to be picking up the chef feat. But yeah, allows you to make food products. Yeah, it also comes with a con or wisdom boost and proficiency with cook's utensils if you don't have. So very cool. Yes, Bard Chef is going to be amazing. Especially if it's mixed with the right subclass.
And the cooking part heals characters.
Yeah,
like 1d8 hit points. Yeah. That's fantastic.
And then extra healing products you can carry with you as well.
Yeah.
They last so the healing hours. It's basically Goodberry but better.
So as part of a short rest, so they kind of, if anyone can take this now, like you like a fighter can have it, even though, and it's as part of the short rest, you get that extra d8 of hit points, which is massive for first level, like second level, like that's incredible. That's like massive. I love that because I'm in the fan of like when I run campaigns to give them a little bit of an edge because 1 and 2 can be quite boring. I give them a free feat. I'm like, choose something. I don't care. Like it just makes them feel a little bit more powerful, and it lets them kind of start on the route that they want to go on.
Yeah.
And something like Chef, I love the idea of, because coming in and grabbing it at when you get first feat, like level 4.
Level 4, unless you've got one granted by like variant human or some other avenue of getting feats earlier. But yeah.
Exactly. So you take this at level 1. This can be the start of an inside joke the whole way along. Like I love the idea. Well, Kyle.
Sorry, guys, I'm back.
Can you go to the feat section, Kyle, and look at the second one? That is page 79. Second one down. Second feat.
Chef.
Wait.
Why wasn't this a big way cash?
Yeah, I know, right? I love it. I really hope. I know that like the background section of character creation in 5e gives you this sort of flavor and occupation and stuff like that, but I hope we see more occupation related feats in the future. That would be cool,
because Pathfinder 2e it's really big now in part of 2e. Like they have a section for downtime, and in that downtime you focus on your profession, and your profession can get you money. Like that could happen in any campaign. You just go, oh yeah, you earn this amount of gold by doing it, but because the rules are there, people are going to start doing it. So, and that's really interesting. Like, for instance, the campaign that I'm running for the other guys, the traveling from one place to another, it's going to take them 30 days to get there. So they're looking through like, oh, my downtime, I can brew stuff. I can take up small jobs in the villages we're going past. I can try and hunt game and use the fur to earn cash. And it's interesting you can do that. Like, and now this is kind of like, I hope that influences this a little bit to make people think about that downtime. Because it's nice to have downtime with your character. Your character wants to relax for like a fucking month. Because if you think about all the massive shit that you've been doing and dealing with. You fought a dragon. You came down the hill. There was trolls to fight. Any regular human from our world going into this place, the PTSD they're going to have to deal with
the
after
psychological
fighting
trauma
this
of your fellow party member coming back to life with tentacles.
Exactly. Like these characters need a rest, and I'm glad Pathfinder 2e has added that in as like a thing that you can do. It's obviously optional. But it is like a major component in the game, which is optional. It means you can deal with that, and having that one-on-one time with your DM, with everyone else with you, exploring your character, is fantastic. Great roleplay.
So
yeah, Carl, take Chef.
There is a set of 3 feet.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hello, Blue Collar Gamer. It is us. We are back after we just took a cheeky 2 weeks off as I went interstate now that the border to Victoria opened. And we're just having a little look at Tash's Cauldron of Everything tonight. So Crusher, and then there's Slasher, and I think Piercer is the third one.
Slasher.
Yeah.
Slasher.
So min-max of feats to enhance one of the 3
types of damage.
mundane damage. Yeah, I like it. Good for me.
I like that. Yeah.
I did just want to say, just overarching thing about feats in general. I know Pathfinder has infinite feats, but I think feats are always good because
100%.
It kind of giving players more choices to make the character interesting rather than just good. So if you get to level 4 and you go from like 16 to 18 dex, or you can get this cool feat, which specifically is just for you, make you more interesting and different.
Yeah, tailors it to you, and a lot of the time they will sometimes come with a ability score increase still.
But it's always
nice.
One.
Yeah.
But
it means you're chasing an upgrade of your character rather than as a whole. You like fine-tuning it to this certain area. Again, directing your character in a direction that you want him to go in. If, like, for instance, I really like the idea of Poisoner for Professor Gideon because of that alchemical background. I really like the idea of Slasher for Aldark. God, praise be his soul. He would be great for Slasher. Like, those feats, like, because I was looking through, like, how people build Hexblade fighters, because I was like, this is a really cool real cool idea for a character. Someone who can be in heavy armor, two-handed sword, and just casting spells off at people at the same time. And Eldrick, like, and there's almost a dirtiness, a Devil May Cry kind of feel behind the character. But, like, I felt like some of the feats were letting me down. And now with some of these feats, it looks like I could have, had he stayed alive, thank you very much, Josh, pushed him in certain directions.
He's with the Sovereigns now. Rest his soul.
Rest his soul.
So, more feats that let you dabble in other classes, which is really cool. Eldritch Adept is really cool. Lets you take an Eldritch Invocation from the Warlock class, and you can change it each level to. You can when you gain a level, you can replace the invocation with another one. So I like that. And
that's amazing.
You can have like the Pact of the Chain at one level and have a familiar. Next level, get rid of it, get another pact. Awesome. I love it.
Just dipping your feet in that other class without taking the full amount of it.
Magic Initiate, but for Warlocks.
And then Fighting Initiate, you can take fighting style options. So cool.
So it's
is there one in the player's handbook where you can already take a fighting style?
Don't recall one.
There is because I did it for what's his name? Basil took a couple of superiority guy.
That was a different one though. That wasn't a
a
fighting style.
But it's like but it's not like with Fighter Initiative. Like that feat would be fantastic for Gideon right now. so that he can actually, you know, not just use a dagger in combat because it's the only thing he's good for. He can take up a rapier, for instance. So that would be a fantastic feat for him, and I feel like I would have loved to have taken that at level 4.
What do we have? Gunner, so more firearms stuff for firearms campaigns. So always welcome. Meta Magic Adept, so that's, you know, dabbling into Sorcerer. Yeah, getting meta magic points. Very cool. Poisoner, I found very interesting, very flavorful. Can't say anyone in a campaign that I've ever played in or DM'd has used a Poisoner's kit yet. Or applied poison.
It's expensive.
In my last campaign.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
One of the characters was dabbling with making her own poisons to add to blades and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, ended up she was just doing more damage without bothering with the poison, but
yeah.
Yeah, it's still good.
I like it, especially like this the end part of the third feature of that feat, like an additional 2d8 poison damage on a failed Constitution saving throw. That's a powerful feat. Like,
and I think it's because, like, if you take Assassin as a rogue, you get the option to make poisons, which is fantastic. But the poisons are like, oh yeah, now you can take this poison and apply it to your blade. Oh, but you have to still hit. And then when you hit, they then have to do the Constitution saving throw through its extra steps, and that costs you 250 gold pieces for the one hit. It's like, I wasn't a fan of that. Like, I really like the idea that a rogue can do this. Poisoner makes it just that little bit better, and it will basically, like, well, that's the way I read.
Like later level like campaigns when you have a lot of money, and that stops being an issue. Like, it'll be
100%.
See more widespread use, but yeah, very cool.
So it's yeah.
One thing I wanted to say with Poisoner, ignoring resistance. What do you guys think?
Ooh, I actually missed that.
The first point, it says when you make a damage roll that deals poison damage, you ignore poison damage.
Yeah, that's just more power to the feat. Yeah.
I am not sure that I'm a fan of that in general, because I feel like it kind of takes away from the uniqueness of specific monsters.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Yeah.
Like a gelatinous cube, they're immune to, or resistant to I suppose it says resistant. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't ignore immunity. It doesn't ignore immunity.
Yeah.
Just resistance. So.
But I think something like that, because that's the first time I've seen something like that that can actually ignore resistance. I'm not sure. I like the slippery slope. I mean, they're not going to do it for everything, obviously.
Yeah.
No, but,
you don't want to see it as a precedent of like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we're going into this fire area and we just hit level 4. Let's take the anti-fire feat.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, I see it more of a sense of a creature is going to be resistant to poison, and you still poison it. I don't like that. That's just
flavor-wise, it's also not great. But I think as min, because I look at these as like min-maxing things, because I like the feats that give you more flavor and like the ability to build your character uniquely, and things that just like say, okay, this thing lets me ignore poison resistance. If I know that this campaign is going to be focused around poison resistance, obviously that's just an auto take.
Yeah.
If that, like, obviously if it fits your character, but stuff like that, I'm not a huge fan of. Yeah. The rest of the feat is good.
Yeah, like, just apart from that one first line, the rest of it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it'll be
hopefully,
interesting to see what you can play with it.
Yeah, as you said, hopefully it's not like the start of a slippery slope. But, so Shadow Touched, sort of an analog to Fey Touched, so very cool. Giving a little planar influence to a character.
Yeah, you learn invisibility and one.
And then some more psionics in the last two, telekinetic and telepathic. Very cool.
I'm glad they're separate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm glad they're two separate feats. Like, they could have so easily put it in the same thing and then made them half as good. Yeah. Whereas this means I want to move shit with my brain. Well, I want to move your brain to shit. Like, like
with these two feats, I'm making a character for a 1/2 shot that Cammy's doing.
Yeah.
And because it's set in the far future, like 2300.
Right.
So I've created like a Men in Black style character with a gun and He's the Psy Warrior with the telekinetic and telepathic feats.
Fantastic.
It's going to be amazing. Just being able to move everything with my brain. Everyone else is going to be shit and attacking stuff with swords or guns, and I'll be like, so yeah, love those 2 feats.
And then reading minds with detect thoughts.
Exactly.
So yeah, pretty happy with the feats list. Love it. Very good. More options. Moving on to chapter 2. So another feature imported from the Eberron sourcebook, group patrons. So the concept of a party working for a patron is nothing new to D&D, but this is good to like lay it out for newer DMs, and give some ideas of more hooks to throw at the parties. I've been to be honest, I really liked the examples of different patrons that the Eberron book have. Hopefully this one does too. It does, yeah. So it's got examples as well. Like for example, like you guys have been working for a patron in the Eberron campaign since the very first episode. You guys started as a patron of the Boromar clan, which is a crime syndicate. And then you also do work for a what did they put an academy, which is the university. When you guys work for Professor Mortis every now and then. So I'm a big fan of like having this laid out as a concept, like in writing, and I think it's great. An awesome section, and it's good that you don't have to have the Eberron sourcebook now to actually read it. So,
and you don't have to spend the time building a structure for like if for instance you want to build something like, let's take it from something like the Fighters Guild from the Elder Scrolls games. You don't have to try and build this whole network. You can just use this.
Yeah,
effectively, awesome. Very effectively. As a DM, this is another tool that you can use to make your life easier.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, good reference. Good for like downtime between sessions when you're planning things. Yeah, it's very like, for example, like the entire. It's like Professor Mortis and that first quest he sent you on just started as like a side thing, and then it just like because he was such a cool NPC, I brought him back into it. And you guys took them on as like a full patron, so. And I got that whole idea from the patron section of the Eberron book, so I think this is awesome. It's good to see it added for non-Eberron GMs.
I like Ancient Being.
Yeah,
like
that's actually a new one. That's a new category.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You've got Elder Dragon, Lich, Bound Fiend, Guardian Celestial, and the Endless, and Primal Manifestation, and like.
I'm gonna have to have a good read of these because that's really cool.
That's good because this then makes it like a big end time kind of element where it's like this big fucking massive thing has just gone off and you're like, holy shit, you're overwhelmed. You suddenly have to retreat out of an area, but you find this area where there's this dragon who needs your assistance doing something. Or even better, the Primal Manifestation. I love the idea of just having this swirling ball of power talking to you, where I can't do this because I am literally ethereal. You need to do these things for me so that we can go forwards and defeat the big bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I'm thinking of that. Yeah, that little cloud that Morty rescues on Rick and Morty, and it turns out to be...
yeah.
Exactly.
But that's...
Hey, shifting to Wolf, how you doing? We're just having a little look at Tash's Cauldron of everything tonight, so welcome. Any questions or grievances, throw them in the chat.
Or things that you found in the book that you think are a bit or things in the book that you love that you want our opinion of. More than happy. I love talking about D&D. And I'm glad I can do it on a place that people are forced to listen to me.
Platform where people... Hey, they're not forced. These people watching are volunteers.
Yeah, they're volunteers. Unlike my workmates, who I'm like, oh, do you want to hear about D&D? And they're like, yeah, sure. And I'm just slowly disappearing off.
They're looking at it, watch, my whole lunch break is over.
Oh no.
Let's have a quick, whiz through the spells, just so we're not sinking too much time, because there's quite a few of them.
I would like it. A very quick... ultra in-depth look at all these spells.
Before we go anywhere, Shift and Wolf. If you're very new to D&D, homebrewing is a fantastic medium, but I would highly recommend running possibly the beginner's box. I forget what it's called. It's called the starter set or even the essentials kit first, so you're used to the idea of the pace of a campaign.
Dragon of Ice Spire Peak or Lost Mines of Fandor.
It's fantastic. Yeah. Ice Spire Peak is one of my favorites. It's very, very open. It's basically multiple different encounters in one. So if you don't have a consistent group, you've got this book full of encounters that you can link together, or you can just have as different groups learning how to play it and then jump into a homebrew. Because I personally started off with a homebrew and I was completely out of my depth. Like, I would highly recommend not sticking to a book, but having a book to base it off to begin with. You can change the names of everything, like, and all that stuff, but yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I would recommend that as well. I would run at least a short pre-made adventure before delving into a homebrew campaign. Something that gets you to level 3 or level 5, like something, and then you go, okay, that's how the rhythm feels. Let's carry on during this. If you're after mythical creatures, there is, what's that one that came out before Eberron? The Theros,
or just after Theros.
Yeah, opposite
that jumps into Greek and Roman mythology heavily.
Yeah, that's one of the ones imported from Magic the Gathering. Theros was one of my favorite Magic the Gathering sets too. So I may explore that one day. We'll see.
I would love to be your Hercules. Just saying, if you want to run it.
The Oath of Glory. Cool. So let's have like a broad look at the summoning spells all at once, because they basically.
I just want to mention one spell real quick before we do summoning.
Yep. All right, hold up.
Lightning Lure. Why are there not more lightning spells? It's so annoying.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that one.
So yes. I'm glad that there's Lightning Lure, and I believe there's maybe one other lightning spell in this book. I'm looking through now, but I can't find it.
I especially love the utility of Lightning Lure, how it's like a lasso. That's really cool.
Well, because I'm playing a Tempest Cleric, an Orc Tempest Cleric in one campaign.
Ooh,
and getting
like
that level 6 ability, I believe it is, where you can move people up to 10 feet when you hit them with lightning, with Lightning Lure, so you can move people back and forth.
Nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it.
So with these summon spells,
yes,
what do you guys think of them in general in regards to action economy? Not the spells themselves, but how they affect like the action economy and how combat encounters.
Well, how do some creatures normally affect it?
Well, this is the first time players have been able to summon creatures as a spell.
Really?
In 5e, yeah.
Do they become similar to animal companions, where you can order them to do something? Or?
Oh, well, yes. So, it's on. The spells are all, I think, functionally the same. I'm pretty sure all of them are. It's just the thing that the spell summons is different. So, and it's just creature type. So it's aberration, construct, elemental, and then each spell comes with a stat block of the particular creature that you summon. And then it acts on your initiative straight after you, and if you don't issue any orders, it just takes the dodge action.
So would you have to give up some of your turn for the creature to do something?
I don't see anything in the spell description saying that it takes a bonus action to order it or anything, so I think it's a free action.
As long as you can speak, you can order it to do stuff.
So it's basically if you fall unconscious, it's concentration. If you fall unconscious, it's going to disappear. But yeah, if you have no way of giving it orders, then it just stands still and dodges things. In regards to action economy, Kyle.
Yep.
I don't know, because I haven't had players do it in 5e yet. So.
Because I'm just thinking, obviously, you can just, if you have a player that's summoning things, you can just balance your encounters around having that basically one extra party member action economy. But I think. Look, I'm not sure.
I wouldn't say that's a good thing to do as a DM, because what if that one encounter that you built for 5 people and you've got 4 people in the group, but they don't summon it? You've then added this thing in just in case, and they've put points into doing into this summoning thing, and I think that rather than, you know, add something to this for the sake of difficulty, I feel like the creatures should adapt for the sake of like somehow, like if they're intelligent beings, they realize this thing is being summoned by the summoner. Like this is controlled by the summoner. They can point 2 and 2 together. They're going to start attacking the summoner more. It opens up a weakness when you bring this thing out.
On the balance side of things, they do have expensive material components as well. For example,
it doesn't get consumed.
It doesn't? Oh no, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. Okay, we'll strike that. I don't know. I mean, I'll have to have a player like use it regularly to see if it does balance out at all.
I love the idea of the summons. I just feel like, I mean, like you were saying just then, Adam, what if they don't summon it? It's like, if they don't summon something and you've made an encounter thinking that they will, then that encounter is going to be way more difficult. But then every encounter that you don't balance around people summoning stuff, especially if you've got 2 or maybe 3 party members that can summon stuff, every encounter you build that's not based around summoning is just going to be broken when they do summon stuff.
Also, yeah, so there's concentration as a limitation as well. So if they get hit, fail their concentration save, it disappears.
Yeah, but players are crafty. They'll never fail their
yeah.
But then you could have something interesting, like, say, for instance, for 3 or 4 levels been going on, and then suddenly they have someone that can cast Dispel Magic at will. Like, and bam, that summoning's gone. Because that's, in my eyes, that would do it. Like, that'd be enough to get rid of it. And then suddenly they're like, oh no, we've been concentrating on doing this. And they have that moment of weakness. And I think exposing themselves with the summoning opens up a weakness that they'd have. Because obviously you've got this one person who they're like, oh, and everyone else then decides to get a bit more relaxed with their characters. Oh, I'm normally a frontline fighter. I'm going to sit back and start using my crossbow a bit more. Or I'm normally the cleric, I'm meant to be up front healing. Well, now I'm going to use my more aggressive spells because we've got that summoned creature at the front. Once you bring in, and this is what can make boss battles or even just distinctive character battles, where you're versing someone who has been either, like, in the background, you know they're evil, but you can't do anything about them. And you can just bring in this little element where they can just take away that advantage that they have. Not enough to kill the party because it's still set to be for their level and for the amount of people that they are. Like, it could be a tough encounter, but it means it turns off that power that they have, which means it reveals their weakness, which means they have to then, oh shit, what do we do? And that can turn the nozzle up to 11. And yeah, so it's definitely going to be a hard one for DMs, I think, to keep it both fair and difficult. Like, because that's the main thing that we do. We orchestrate how difficult and how fun things are. And I think the DM, like, people will say that the DMs are out for blood. DMs are out for DMs are out for blood. DMs are out to get the players, not at all. Whenever I've run anything, my whole thing is we are there to play with the characters. I want to watch these characters grow. I don't give a shit if they get through a campaign or not. I don't give a shit if they die in the first encounter. All about growing that story. There's an end goal over there somewhere. I don't give a shit. Let's talk about this character's backstory because this is interesting and they've put their heart and soul into it. So I'm really invested in that personally. So when I run my campaigns, there's a lot of backstory influences. Like, I like to write things with the players that we bring up before the session to give a little bit of reasoning why this character is the way that they are. Like I did with Basil that one time. I wanted to bring that out because you wanted to know why he was timid, why he was a little bit, like, unsure of everyone. And that's because when he last trusted someone, he had to kill someone. Yeah. And, like, or he killed someone and a house burned down. And, like, fuck, kind of thing. Like, he started realizing the badness in the people he was hanging around with. And that's why he was so worried about getting close to people, because these people could turn out to be not what I wanted. And bringing that out made me fall in love with that character. Just absolutely love that character and feel part of that character. Whereas, and I think this is a good element because the conversation that the characters will have after that encounter, especially if they get beaten to a pulp, have to grab each other and bolt out of there. And the conversation those characters will have together about, holy shit, he just fucked us up with one spell. And it's that conversation that they'll have about how to get past it without using this thing that they've relied on, the summon. and it'll be just such a big growth moment. That's how I imagine it, you know, rather than just we'll just like I'm not saying that what you said, Carl, was bad or wrong. Like it's like if you throw another creature in there, it's just like you're just throwing like another body to the works. If you know what I mean. Like what? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Okay.
I think they definitely for certain other people's campaigns and players, there definitely has room for abuse. But I know none of my players would do that.
Although I do want to summon a celestial spirit because they're a large creature, and I just want a naked, linen wrapped god coming down and just.
What level is this? It's only 5th level.
Summon celestial is 5th. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What forms can it take? Look.
Oh, I can take anything I want.
So most of them have 3 forms you can choose from, or 2 or 3.
Oh,
forms.
Radiant Bow, Radiant Mace, and Healing Touch. Oh, Healing Touch just floats around. Hey, how you going? Just hand on each. Hi.
Yeah, so it's basically it's basically angels and archons.
Yeah.
My name is David. I'm here to heal you. Hi.
Cool.
They didn't want me upstairs.
Actually, I want to know what the options are for undead.
Yeah,
Summon undead.
Necromancy.
You can pull forth ghosts, skeletons, or putrid boys.
Putrid boys.
Cool.
Josh.
Yes.
I didn't realize you were in this book.
What?
I was gonna say.
What page? What is it?
Wait, page.
Summon Shadow Spawn.
113.
Summon Shadow Spawn.
I looked at that and I instantly thought of you too, Josh. I'm sorry.
Is that? Oh, okay. Someone hold it up to the camera again, because
I got you.
It's not on.
Just there. Rah!
I looked at that and went, that's straight up Strange Aeon's alley.
Yeah, I do like my
Dude,
aberration.
You can summon demons as well. That's awesome.
Yeah,
like
fiends.
Demons, Yugloths, devils.
Wait, where is the demons one?
That's Fiendish Spirit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
So yeah, I mean, and then there's a couple of new psionic spells: Mind Sliver and
Mind Whip.
Tashas Mind Whip. So cool. Hopefully more psionic spells in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Good start, but we need more.
Oh, that's
we need
cool.
More.
I like the idea of the
types.
Yeah.
Well,
like you said, more thunder.
Yeah, more
thunder or more lightning? More lightning.
Yeah.
You got lightning bolt though. Did you see? Okay, just quickly. I mean, we'll go into this when we go into personalizing spells. I think because I love the next image on the next page. Have you seen it yet, Carl?
Is this the chickens?
Yeah.
We'll move on to that unless anyone's got other spells they want to point out.
Nah.
Personalizing spells. So, basically just a chapter with advice on adding flavor to your spell casting as a player, which is great. I love that. That's why, as we were saying earlier, it's very boring to say, I cast magic missile. Instead, I summon spectral chickens and hurl them at my enemy, and they flap and cluck. Strike him with force in the chest, and he stumbles backwards.
And I roll a 1. Wait, no, it hits automatically.
I mean, it's cool to see it in writing. Why not describe your
the
spell?
one thing I think with this, because I think while it's fantastic for players to describe their spells, because I don't know if you like Josh with the Eberron campaign, I was describing all of my spells the first or second time that I did them.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's just like...
Yeah. You don't have to do it. You can just be like, my little spider bot crawls out and I cast Cure Light Wound Slayers.
But the thing is, every time you do it,
I've got
that image in my brain.
Yeah.
As soon as you go, I grab the things, I imagine like gravitational field above your wrist that you're flinging these things off.
Yeah.
Like,
and then... You know, like with these chickens, you can just end up being like chicken missile.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone knows what you're talking about.
And you can literally rename the spell chicken missile, and it'll come up on the thing. How fantastic would that be?
Oh.
Josh, I'm making a farmer. Farmer Bard.
All right with that.
Farmer Bard gnome.
Farmer Bard.
Is it a gnome?
It is a gnome. Looks like
it is a gnome. Yeah.
Right, that's after we finish going through this, that's what I'm going to build on stream, a Farmer Bard.
Love it.
Yes.
You guys can help me. All right.
I will help
so
you. It has to be a gnome.
Let's move on to the next section of chapter 3. I don't want to spend too much time on this.
Magic items.
New magic items and magic tattoos, which is basically just a new magic item slot, really. With
one issue I've always had with D&D is I feel like they create fantastic wondrous items, not enough interesting uncommon and common items.
That's what I mean.
I definitely agree with you. Definitely on the official channels, but I actually have the Griffin Saddlebag, which I have been slowly inputting as homebrew onto D&D Beyond, and I'm going to be throwing a lot of those at you guys. But yeah, I 100% agree. The official source books, not enough interesting commons and uncommons.
I will say though,
also Exploring Eberron, Keith Baker's new book that I got. I've been inputting all his magic items into D&D Beyond as homebrew as well. A lot of cool uncommons and commons in that as well.
Yeah.
I will say I do kind of. I mean, I agree that there need to be more, but I kind of like that there's not that too many fleshed out uncommon and common items, because it gives you a chance as a DM to like make your own that fit the setting better.
Yeah,
with like wondrous
100%.
stuff and like legendary things. Obviously, you know, they're named and they're iconic.
I'm talking about like just like certain things that just help out a little bit. Like they've got the boots of elven kind, which I really like. I really like that you put them on, you get advantage in stealth checks. Stuff like that. That's just what I want. Stuff that's like similar to that. Like you get a bow that instead of on like for instance, it crits on a 19 to a 20 because there's a certain thing on it. It doesn't have to be a +1 or anything. It just does that. You know, there's little bit of extra flavor, magicalness, which I know. In regular campaigns, it's like magic is seen as a rarity. Eberron, it's everywhere, and I would have loved like just a little bit more magic overall, because like I would love to have like, hey, you can put a wristwatch that you've got a wristwatch on that can always tell you at the time, and like a compass bearing, and you like just look at it and go, oh, there it is. Like just that small little magical item that's there. Like that's.
Yeah.
The only thing that always pulls me... There was
actually, a lot of those in the Exploring Eberron book. Like the...
Yeah.
Yeah, the
and I'm glad that it's there. I just wish it was first party rather than third.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I'm so thankful that you're adding stuff like that.
Yes,
because,
painstakingly inputting them into D&D Beyond for you guys.
Or you could just simply go on to Pathfinder, where I think that much of the book is... Yeah. But because for instance, in Pathfinder, it's like, hey, you've got, like, the idea of masterwork weapons. I love that idea. This weapon has been created in such a fashion that it is a lot easier to hit. Doesn't do any more damage, but it gives you that +1 to hit, and it's just because this is a finely crafted blade. Like, you can say that your sword is a magnificent, crazy masterclass built blade in D&D, but it doesn't really count towards anything, whereas this is something you can have an option for. Just like how you can get a cold iron blade in like Pathfinder and stuff, and I want D&D to have that, because that idea that like it's the only thing that fails for me in D&D is the magical items or the sub magical items. Like a magical item, they may not necessarily have magical in them, but they are in essence because of the material they're made out of or the design of them. It gives you that small pick me up, because you end up like. Even in Pathfinder, you end up at like level 5 or 6, and you'll have like a cloak of protection. You have a couple of rings on you. You have a certain potions that you can take that give you extra buffiness. Your weapon's a mastercraft weapon. You've got you feel a lot more like there's fun items around you. Whereas in D&D, I feel like it takes you a while to get to that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that is by design. I think like magic items are, at least in most of the 5e settings, are like, rare. Powerful ones are very, very hard to come across, and you definitely don't get as many. At least when you're following the DMG guidelines. Yeah. What?
I'm prolific about giving magic items to my players, but
and I love giving magical items to my players.
Well, yeah, wait, again, don't get me wrong. It's fine for a DM to do it their way. But for example, the Eberron campaign, I've been leaving as much as I can in Fate's hands by using roll tables and all the tools in the DMG built into Foundry. So like every single piece of treasure you have found in the campaign, actually I'll rephrase that, 99% of the treasure you've found in the campaign has been by randomness. I roll in the treasure tables every single session to see what you guys are going to find. So
fantastic.
Yeah, except for the 1% of things that I input for
need to be
because I think they're flavorful for you guys, for your characters, or for driving the story. But anyway, moving on. Magic items.
Some of these items are insane.
Yeah,
like,
there is some cool items in there.
Yeah,
just super cool.
I just wish there were less epic ones, if that makes sense, so that it's easier to give them to the characters. Whereas if you give them, for instance, I gave as it was one of the quests like that they had to do for the Essentials kit. It gives you a dragon sword, and it's like, what does it do? It's a +1 and a +1 magical weapon, unless you're using it against dragons. Then it's an extra 4d6, and it's like, what? An extra 4d6 damage? Like that's like crazy. Come on, like an extra 1d6. That's like, okay, this is kind of proportionate now. Whereas 4d6 against a dragon, if you attack it with that,
and it's a +3. There's a +3 and the additional 4d6 damage.
It's a +1.
No,
it was a +1.
Oh, are we talking first or second edition? Okay.
No, I'm talking about Essentials kit for 5e.
Oh, right. Sorry, I thought we were talking about Pathfinder again.
No. But yeah, it's like a 4d6 added on top of that, and I just thought that's like legendary. And then I'm like, oh, you other guys can have these magical items, which I had to find off the internet.
Yeah.
It's like this one character gets this amazing weapon, and then I had to like brew up my own ones, which was fun. Like, for instance, something like an item that I gave our barbarian. He has a helmet that he wears that's intimidating to look at, so he gets advantage on intimidation checks. And as initiative gets called, he can instantly rage if he wants to. Just something like that. That's like, it's a very small item that he can just rage as soon as combat starts if he wants.
Yeah.
And all he does is say, yep, initiate rage. We had a necklace made of fireballs, which isn't part of the thing, but it's not meant to be in that area. Like, yeah, like I struggle to find magical items for barbarians, and that's something that I feel like you can. Oh, here's more strength. Boring. Just give him strength.
Yeah.
Give him a bit of something. You know, like these gauntlets you can wear. Like what happens in the wild magic, which is I think would be an awesome ability. You get a gauntlet or gauntlets that treat weapons as heavy weapons as light weapons. That would be a really cool thing. Obviously that's another late game one, so I'd probably say that's more of a legendary item, but something like that for a barbarian is fantastic. He's got a horn that gives him gives maybe the influences he has over rage to his allies or something like that. Like, I feel like barbarians get left out of the magic a lot.
They do.
Yeah, I have a lot of love for them. Anyway,
I'm just flicking through these magic items, and I love this one because it reminds me of the elven cloaks in Lord of the Rings, the Nature's Mantle. It says shifts color to blend and texture to blend with the surrounding terrain. While wearing the cloak, it can be a spellcasting focus for druids and rangers. Cool. And you can hide as a bonus action even if you're being directly observed, if you're in an area that's lightly obscured.
Very cool.
I like that kind of flavor. Nice, easy, uncommon item.
Achievement by druid or ranger. I like it.
Well, I would change that if I was going to put it in a game, but...
Okay.
Can we quickly discuss Baba Yaga's mortar and pestle?
Oh, yes.
Just the image.
Oh, my lord.
How cool.
Oh, my. That is a long description. What do we got?
The creations of the immortal hag Baba Yaga defies the law of mortal magic. I can't be
okay, random properties, and it gets 4 of them. Oh, one of them's detrimental. Interesting.
I like that. I'm always a big fan of giving cursed items to players. Hey, here's this here's a wonderful pair of gloves. And it's like, oh, you can tell it's magical. Oh, what do they do? Oh, you failed your check. Well, you could just put them on, and well, they can't come off, and they emanate bright pink glow constantly. Oh, you were the rogue ass.
That's bad.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to the next section.
Yeah.
So
I like the tattoos.
We'll just skim over some of these dungeon master tools. don't need to go into them too in depth. But so sidekicks, I'm pretty sure, is imported from Dragons of Icespire Peak. A very cool tool for, well, as well as, obviously, you can give sidekicks to PCs. They're easy to manage. But I have actually found the sidekicks very handy as for filling out encounters when I need especially for spellcasters, either healers or just damage dealers. I've used them many times in both the campaigns I'm running on Twitch right now to fill out encounters, especially with spellcasters. Amelia, for instance, is one of the healing sidekicks. Super handy, very good for the DM's toolbox, so it's cool to see it just imported into a mainline source book.
I feel like that's something that they haven't really given a guide to, and that's hiring someone to come join you as a mercenary. And I feel like obviously you can do that in whatever campaign you want, like you can do it perfectly, but with the Essentials kit, they literally give you a stack of like 10 or 20 guys you can hire who are in that town. And I think that being incorporated is a fantastic idea, because it means that you as a DM don't have to go, oh fuck, wherever. Okay, let me just quickly build a two-level rogue, 3-level fighter that's going to join you in this campaign. Whereas this, you can just kind of go,
just grab the stat block. Especially good if you buy it on D&D Beyond. It adds to your menagerie of NPCs. It adds I can't remember. I don't think it goes up to level 20 for each one. I think it goes up to at least level 12, if not 16, of each of the sidekicks that you can add to the encounter builder on it, which is, I've been using it all the time. Super handy. You just be like, I want to add a level 5 spellcaster. You can just grab it. It's there. Or, I need a level 8 spellcaster this time. Or you're like, I need to kill Oldark with a blight spell this time. I'm going to need, level 8 spellcaster. Chuck him in. I'm gonna replace that spell with blight though. So there we go.
Can we just quickly talk about the images that are above the spellcaster? That goblin. If you scroll up, Josh, you might get it.
Damn it! I don't have the image.
All right.
Oh wait, is it the goblin in the dress?
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, I love the Bullywog too. Oh man.
Oh, fantastic.
Awesome.
Like,
I love those sorts of images. That is a Humblewood inspiration right there. It's like, there's my new NPC.
That goblin though. Oh, you know me. I'm always a goblin tattoo-looking guy. Yeah. I'm about that goblin.
All right, so let's move on to parlaying with monsters. I had a look at it. A guide for social encounters with monsters. One part I did like was roll tables it contains for things that monsters might want. And
like an ooze.
Finally, a suggested skill guide. Although it was pretty easy to just eyeball it before, but just like Pathfinder had a suggested skill guide for knowledge on each of the creature types. Awesome, especially because because 5e doesn't have that many actual knowledge skills, and then this uses other skills among them as well. So, for example, you can figure out information about an ooze with an Arcana check or a survival check. I love that. So
I like how there's options as well. Like you look at beast, it's animal handling, nature, or survival. And they all make sense.
Yeah.
Why not use any of them? Yeah.
That is going straight into my DM cheat sheet.
Yeah.
And then roll tables for things that each of the types of creatures might want. So aberrations might want the brain or organs of a rare creature.
And I like the ooze.
Or flattery.
Yeah, the ooze. It's like a galleon of evanescent fluid. Or bones or metal, which the ooze promptly absorbs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never negotiate. That gives... I'm not going to... I can't... This could be a spoiler because I don't know which campaign I'm going to put it in, but that is so relevant.
Which one? It's Josh.
Ooze one or... Yeah, hold on.
The ooze one. It's alright. I don't think it's going to be an ever one. But anyway, we'll move on to the next section. So supernatural regions, magical phenomena, and natural hazards. Just more things, more reference for the DM toolkit. I particularly liked the magical phenomena section. Some really awesome stuff in there, like the eldritch storms, necrotic tempests.
I like haunted. I like the haunted section.
I'm not sure what page it is because I'm reading the online version.
Got it.
Yeah, really cool stuff. Mimic colony sounds fucking terrifying. But there it is, reference for that. Oh,
Mimic colony. Well, you just walk into a shop of bits and bobs. that's it.
Oh, that is the coolest D&D counter I've heard of all month.
You walk into an odds and what's it called? Odds and stuff. Odds
and you are the druid that knows the new summon beast spell goes, I summon a bull, and then the bull gets promptly eaten by the China.
Yeah, but everything gets consumed. For instance, going back to the essentials kit, one of the encounters is that you go to a gnome village, like underground village, and you find out there's a mimic, and no one has any idea what it is. And so you have to explore this whole underground community, poking objects to find out which one's the mimic. And the king knows what it is, but he's not helping you because he also thinks his partner is the mimic. So he's tied him up, and he's tied to the chair, and he's like poking him and stuff, and he's paranoid. And it's I love mimics.
Quick tangent before we move on.
Sorry.
Your guys' favorite mimic story of you running a mimic as a DM? Just really quick, what the DM was, what like as an object, or do you have any wacky stories? Or
because I've only run one full campaign,
right?
Haven't used mimic yet. I'm saving it.
I have.
Okay, so I did it for a one of the sort of short campaigns or a one shot I ran for my friends in Canada. Most of them were new players too, so they had no idea what a mimic is, or so it was a completely new. So imagine having a mimic encounter but not knowing what a mimic is in D&D. So completely like alien and fantastic to them. But they were going into a cave dungeon with a necromancer that had necromancer had taken over this cave that was originally inhabited by goblins. They walk into this room, a card table. Like a poker game going on between these goblins had obviously been going on, and a massacre had ensued. Two goblins sitting at the table with the top halves of their bodies missing, so they're just like torso downwards, just legs sitting in the chairs, everything else missing, and just the gory bloody mess, everything on the table scattered all over the floor. And the table, my description is like table completely blank, everything's being thrown onto the floor, but the table is sitting exactly where it should be, and both goblins are just like the lower halves of their bodies sitting in the chair, and they were like, this is a little weird. And it turned out the table was the mimic. It had like come alive, like bitten the top halves of the goblins. But that's my favorite mimic story I have.
So I've ran it once, and I've encountered it once. So the one I ran it was in that gnome area, and it ended up being a crab-like forklift that they had created was the mimic, because I could decide what it was. I'm like, I'm gonna make it the crab forklift because I know Tim would like to jump in that and use it. So he jumps in it, gets attacked by the mimic. The other one is where we were playing one on Halloween like several years ago. I think it still might have even been 4th edition when we were playing it, and the mimic ended up being the house, which was the haunted house we had to investigate. And it happened when we were leaving that we were standing on the red carpet that goes all the way down the grand hallway, and it like wrapped around someone's legs and pulled them in, and we were like, oh fuck, and we were like, oh, this must be like some possessed object. Started fighting it, we caused enough damage to it that it spat us out. We're like, what the fuck? And then it came out and attacked us as a house. We were like, what the fuck? And I love that, not only because the haunted house movie that came out like probably maybe a year or 5 years after that we played it. Yeah, and I was like, I love this idea, and I really want to use it myself. Yeah,
a
haunted house,
gargantuan-sized mimic. What a great idea.
Yeah, and then it just appears into the forest, and no one's ever seen a house again.
All right, so let's get off tangent and back to the book. So yeah, basically the whole environmental hazards section, just a toolbox of things to harm your players with.
Dude, sorry.
They've been
infested.
Ooh, what's that?
It's again in the I think you went past it.
Oh, infested. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Oh, spiders and web everywhere. That's sick.
Yeah, and you go to the other one, and there's haunted, which is awesome. Where it's like spectral ghosts talk to individual characters. Oh,
the visuals in this section are awesome. Great artwork.
Yeah, always 100% artwork of D&D.
Yeah. Avalanche. They've imported avalanches from Rime of the Frost Maiden, and some other natural stuff. But actually, the very last bit of the natural hazards section I love is going straight into my DM toolbox, a list of spells to use as just like the mechanically use the damage or the effect of the spell as the natural hazard. So, for example, like a character gets hit by ball lightning, use a chromatic orb spell. Yeah, like the smoke for fog cloud, pretty obvious one. Meteor, I mean, there's meteor, swarm, or fireball to use.
I like earthquake.
Yeah, well, what's earthquake is earthquake. But yeah, easy answers to use for like natural hazards. Just use a spell.
Yeah, fantastic.
And then having just like this table as a reference is awesome. I love it. Awesome. All right, so then the book ends with some puzzles, which is cool. Like if you're the kind of DM who likes puzzles, I
love puzzles.
And apparently these puzzles were made by a woman who specializes in puzzle making. I hope I'm paraphrasing that correctly from whoever told me that.
She's a puzzler.
But I had a read of some of them. Personally, I wouldn't probably use most of them, at least not in online D&D. I use puzzles fairly frequently in IRL D&D, like in my Dark Sun campaign. So this would be good for that. I just think that these will be better implemented with visual aids and handouts you can give to your characters, your players. So,
and as a player, physically being given a puzzle to solve is really awesome.
Yeah.
Like
I said, like
having that
good
puzzle,
for IRL campaigns in games. So, and I'm glad they're in there. I mean, that is a good library of puzzles for DMs to use on their non-DM friends who haven't read the book. So,
yes.
So that pretty much rounds it out. But I think it's good.
Yeah.